Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are currently in the central circuit of Labyrinthos. Just helped out Cockle Dunkle by ordering stuff from our allies he needs for basically his rocket. And now let's see how else we can help. Though our friends are searching for refined elementite and sacred relics, we will only know if they meet your requirement once they have arrived. In the meantime, is there aught else we might do to be of service? Ha! You've already done more than enough. If I had to say though, I could use someone who knows a thing or two about elegant technology. You there, the lad with red eyes and matching hair. You seem to know more than the average scholar. If only Master Cockle knew how right he was. While he and Graha established a rapport, why don't we help with preparations for the Great Exodus? Indeed, this would mean going above and beyond the terms of our arrangement, but I propose this not to curry favor. As confident as I am that we will succeed, we must be ready for every eventuality. This would also be an opportunity to familiarize ourselves with the logistics of traversing the Great Expanse, and if nothing else, it beats twiddling our thumbs while we wait for the adamantite. Well, ain't you a bunch of helpful buggers? If you have a mind to lend a hand, I know where you ought to go. Charlie and Hamlet is lousy with researchers and scholarly types busying themselves preparing for the Exodus. That lot need all the help they can get. Well then, off we go. I shall endeavor to provide Master Cockle with whatever information he should require. I don't mind this song, but it plays too long in this situation. This would be okay if we solved Cockle's problem and it was go time, but it's not, and so this song now keeps playing until it is go time. And it's way too long. In order to protect the secrets of the central circuit, the researchers must navigate a bewildering maze of paperwork before they are permitted to return to the surface. I suppose it's no different than any other aspect of Sharlayan society. We do love our bureaucracy. It's very much a mirror of the city above, which is perhaps how it came to be called Sharlayan Hamlet. What a quaint little settlement this is. A shame it's hidden underground. I don't mind a bit of heavy lifting, but I draw the line at paperwork. So much as to wave a sheaf of documents at me, and I put my lance through it. As surprised as I am to learn the foreign plan to send everyone to the moon, I can't imagine how the common folk must feel about it. Do my senses deceive me? In the shadow of yon corner, one can but hope this leadeth not to mischievous undertakings. From what I can tell, a lot of people actually live down here. I don't know how much help we can offer, but I dare say they'll benefit from some of that fresh inspiration Scholar Monteshan mentioned. Let's start by asking around, ideally without getting in anyone's way. Let's meet at the Etherys once our work is done. Can you get up here? No. At least not like this. Helping with the Ark. Even with all the power Master Cockle's managed to squeeze out of the Etherburn, it's still not enough for them, apparently. Now I hear the final days have arrived. Horrible creatures running rampant all over. If only we'd begun the Exodus sooner. People are dying, and there'll be no end to it if we don't fulfill our duties. But we will. We spent years preparing for this moment. Believe in the plans, and all will be well. Silken grin, huh? Oh, hello. Are you one of the new helpers? Working on the Etherburn, oh dear. I hear things have come to a standstill on that front. Even so, I choose that over my current duties. Checking and loading samples day in, day out. It's tiring, thankless work. Still, no one will be cross if I misplace a few legumen or what have you. The forum's got enough on their plate as it is. What with deciding who gets to board the Ark and when. Lots of powerful people have opinions about that. My heart goes out to Master Fortune and the others. Hardly gets a moment's rest, I expect. Do they even have time to sleep? Offering to help. That's very kind, but I should be able to organize the rest of the documents for myself. It's mostly lists of the things we need once we arrive on the moon, and then whichever star we choose as our new home. My duties largely concern the maintenance of living conditions, so I'll be a lot busier after we depart. I hear that our lunar collaborators have come down to assist in our efforts. I'm looking forward to finally meeting them in person, after having communicated with them in such a limited capacity thus far. To be perfectly honest, I have not even the slightest idea what they look like. I do hope they're not enormous looming giants. Why, I would much prefer something small and fluffy like that beheaded rabbit that ran by. Come to think of it, rabbits don't normally wear hats, do they? Or run on their back paws? Perhaps it was an escaped sample. No, that sounds like one of them. Search for the beheaded rabbit. It would appear the Loporrits have infiltrated Charlian's most heavily guarded facility. How, I know not. Ha ha! What joy to assemble the delights of Etherys! How marvelous it is to see you again. You'll be pleased to hear I've learned much since our fascinating discussion at the Curatorium. It's all thanks to Yanja, you see. He's taught me the finer points of cooking, which, despite my name, I knew very little about. So many dishes, so many hard-to-pronounce words. Actually, I was rather hoping he'd show me how to bake an Archon loaf. They're quite popular here, though it doesn't sound like it contains any flavor to speak of. Still, if that's the sort of thing your kind enjoys, I shall make enough to last the whole journey. Crikey, I wasn't expecting to see you here, Desiree. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to say goodbye, and for having those other Loporrits attack you. Terrible misunderstanding that. Not to worry, though, as all have since recovered from the rather savage beating you administered. They bear you no ill will, well, perhaps a little on account of the savagery, but time heals all wounds, most anyway. Fancy meeting you here, Desiree. Our friends in the forum brought us to see the teeny tiny toy boat, which was quite impressive considering they didn't use any creation magics. What we're really interested in is Etherys itself, though we now find ourselves in a sort of funny underground miniatures version of it. We were hoping the forum would give us a guided tour, but it appears they're rather preoccupied. Honestly, all that time to prepare and we're still not ready. I suppose we'll just have to show ourselves around, or at least that's what we were planning to do until we chance upon Rianche and your good self. Since you're both dawdling about, engaging in idle chit-chat, perhaps you could show us a few points of interest. Won't that be fun? Try as he might, Rianche cannot free himself of the Loporrits. A tour of Labyrinthos, an unexpected yet prudent suggestion. Given the similarities betwixt this artificial environment and Bestray's Burrow, it would be in our best interest to have the Loporrits acquaint themselves with those conditions deemed optimal by their Charlian collaborators. I fear, however, that continued reliance upon my limited knowledge would risk narrowing rather than broadening their perspectives. Mayhap thou art better suited to lead this venture? What a marvelous idea! Might we begin with that great big what's it over yonder? Ah yes, but what's it? I shall leave its explanation to Desiree. This is all very intriguing, I'm sure. But where are the food preparation stations? What's the word for it? Kitchens? That reminds me, Pudding Way, our newly appointed Chief of Pudding Research, a discipline he himself found after sampling Yuanji's delights, has gone in search of Etherys' ultimate sweet treat. Well, provided it's a pudding, as that's all he ever talks about these days. Have you seen him? My word, what magnificent architecture, such immaculate curvature. I'll have to make several adjustments to my work if I'm to match this degree of craftsmanship. I shall leave no corner unrounded. Considering Stingray and Growing Way specialties, I expect them to pay full attention to your explanations, which I'm sure will be most informative. The Loporrits' technical expertise does far outstrip our own. We would be wise to allow them to form their own conclusions as to the function of the various apparatus, rather than offer uninformed suppositions of our own. Unless that is, unbeknownst to me, though art possesses surpassing knowledge concerning the construction and operation of advanced Charlian, what's it? Goodness me, to build something so large without creation magic is positively stupendous. Perhaps you could direct our attention to its most important features? Metal tube? Is that water I hear from inside that great big tube? Must be because of those cogs of a gigantic wheel at the top. Oh, I see, that's how they draw up the water. There's probably some sort of spiral-shaped mechanism inside too. It's a little hard to see from here, but is that golden pipe connected to the top of those tanks? I can see through the window another pipe at the bottom. This must be for purifying water drawn up from below. That looks like the trees in Greatest Ensrail. Hold on, that's a bit of a strange shape. It's thin at the bottom but big and round at the top. Quite tall for something so unbalanced too. Now it makes sense. That's where they store the water. Well, if I were to hazard a guess, water drawn from underground, presumably with some other mechanism, is purified here and stored in that tower before being distributed elsewhere. I'm right, aren't I? I knew it. A design brilliant in its simplicity. I dare say it would take only a moment to install in even the harshest of environments. For us Loporrits, that is. Indeed, securing a reliable source of water is of the utmost importance for any fledgling settlement. We have read, however, that peoples of Etherys sometimes make their homes in arid deserts and such. How are they able to survive? Many settlements in Fanalan are built near oases. So wherever you choose to live, you're never far from water. Oh dear, I worry we won't be able to procure the necessary amount. We can provide enough water to keep them from drying out completely, but would appear they rely on it far more than we'd anticipated. A few adjustments may be in order once we've calculated the average rate of consumption per individual. It may also be worth learning more about how exactly they obtain their water in the first place. Master Alphino spoke of the machinery responsible for that feat during our journey through Logisticon Alpha, did he not? Maybe Loporrits would share his appreciation for the engineering marvel. Oh yes, that sounds absolutely splendid. We must journey beyond the sanctuary of Charlene Hamlet. I shall lead the way. You mean we have to brave the untamed wilderness? A valid concern indeed. We couldn't help but notice the many dangerous-looking creatures with big nasty teeth lurking beyond the safe confines of this settlement. Were we not escorted here by burly custodians, I dread to think what would have become of us. Regrettably, to many a hungry predator with the aforementioned big nasty teeth, Loporrits may appear to be a potential and rather appetizing source of sustenance. Might I impose upon thee to assist in securing safe passage to Logisticon Alpha? For my part, I shall act as escort to living way and cooking way. I entrust singing way and growing way to thy care. A more valiant protector they could not wish for. Godspeed. If it's all the same, I'd rather not be eaten by some Howard beastie. Come along, go away. To the water extraction, what's it? So, escort mission for the Loporrits. I have a feeling the way forward is not as clear as we'd like. Could you go and take a look? Perhaps you could tell the local beasts we're not nearly as delicious as we might appear? They are not nearly as delicious as they appear. I say that fiend had a mind to feast on roasted Loporrit. Thank you so much. I really hope this water extraction is worth these harrowing experiences. All part of the fun, I might say, but I'd rather not be burnt to a crisp if that's all the same to you. Let's get moving. That building looks nice and solid and safe. That was all very exciting, but I'd rather not do it again. Wait, how exactly were we planning to head back later? You've done well to see those two safety here. They can be a bit skittish at the best of times, so I'm pleasantly surprised they didn't run off and get themselves killed. I couldn't help notice a distinct lack of carrots along the way, or many of the other vegetables I was expecting to see, though I did catch a glimpse of some sort of bipedal tomato charging about. Must be my imagination. Oh. My friends, I bid you welcome to Logisticon Alpha. Our destination does lie at the lift's top. Pray follow me. As I understand, places like Labyrinthos are the exception rather than the rule. You don't all build enormous underground living spaces like this, surely? That was terrifying, but at least the scenery was more pleasant than what's name Guillemot. As a first impression to our favorites, it was far from favorable. Anyway, onwards and upwards, quite literally this is the case here. Forgive me for asking, but are we any closer to the kitchens? Come to think of it, why am I even here? Atmospheric manipulators are hardly my area of expertise. On this occasion, it would behoove us to seek the counsel of those qualified to describe the working of the apparatus. They may also be in possession of schematics or other useful documentation, should the Loporrits request them. As the forum's esteemed guest, it's unlikely they would be refused, yet thou knowest as well as I the changeable disposition of Ashalian bureaucrats. Marvelous, simply marvelous. So this is where the magic, or science rather, takes place, the perfect environment to sustain life artificially created. The knowledge we gain here will be essential when we start looking for new stars for your kind to inhabit. Apparently most of them don't even have air for you to breathe. You're all very lucky that the Etherys crystal happens to provide everything you need to thrive. Or did mankind turn out the way they are because of the available resources, I wonder? Either way, it's nothing short of miraculous, and I cannot wait to see more of it. I should like to study this primitive yet nevertheless intriguing contraption a while longer if I may. The Ashalians were able to build something of this complexity with their limited knowledge and resources is most impressive. This is all wonderful, I'm sure, but I was rather hoping to learn more about your nourishment provision facilities. In other words, where's the food? I believe both the knowledge and consumables you seek may be found at Marial Agronomics. As I imagine, Singing Way and the others intend to study every conceivable facet of this apparatus, would Sir be so kind as to escort our visiting culinarian? Yes, that sounds much more interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to see firsthand some of the delicacies Iranji was telling me about. Even his incredibly vivid, if a bit too verbose, descriptions cannot compare to sampling them myself. Not to mention that Etherys will soon be no more, so I must learn all I can while there's still time. Let us brook no further delay. So this is the place, yes? The heady aroma was enough to guide me here, and I've spotted several of the fruit and vegetables featured in our compendium. I'd really love to try some, but I read that those who help themselves to a farmer's crops without permission often caught and put into pies. Perhaps you could ask whoever is in charge if they would be willing to part with a few samples? Cooking Ware is accompanying you. What a fine mess this is. Ah, it's you, the one who climbed down the mine shaft. I'd show you around if I could, but I'm rushed off my feet preparing for the Exodus. And I'm not the only one. We've all got to find ways to do what we do down here, up there. First on the moon, then on whichever star the forum decides will become our new home. It's also sudden, so unreal. Don't you want to go to the moon? Well, it's better than waiting for our final days to claim us. But no matter how carefully it's all planned, we'll never be able to take every variety of flora and fauna with us. Even the ones we can take may not survive in their new environment. So many species doomed to extinction. Sorry, that's not what you came to talk about, is it? Not quite so dire, I assure you. We merely wish to sample a little of your produce, if we may. By all means, help yourself. Much appreciated, my good fellow. So where to begin? Oh, I know what these are. Grapes, yes? Let's see if they're as delicious as they look. So sweet, so sour. The taste is much like a ripe philosopher's carrot, yet the texture is entirely different. The contrast between the outer skin and the fruit within is most peculiar. Though far from unpleasant, yes, I think I'll try another. Well, certainly give me food for thought, though in a far less visceral manner than any philosopher's carrot. But tell me, what's your opinion of grapes? Ghastly thing. I'd brave a erupting volcano for a choice bunch. Bit extreme, but I like grapes. Not that much, but I like them. Yes, they're rather Moorish, aren't they? And from what I've read, quite versatile too. Something about people stepping on them to make intoxicating beverages, as I recall. Anyway, that's enough about grapes for the time being. On to the next tweet. Orange by name, orange by nature. What came first, the fruit or the color? Who cares? Let's eat. Yes, that equal parts sweet and sour. As with the grapes, there's nothing alike. I may have to consult a Yanji about expanding my vocabulary. I simply cannot find the words to describe it. Perhaps what I'm looking for is bitter. This is all very complicated, you know? So many flavors, so many choices, and each individual with their own personal preferences. Now I see why you all turned your nose up at the idea of eating nothing but carrots. Marvelous though they still are, in my estimation. Let no one say I said otherwise. But speaking of carrots, I've yet to sample any of the vegetables. Let's see what's in that field over there. That color, that texture. Are there some sort of enormous round carrot? No. No, in any case, proper nomenclature is less of a concern than the taste. Blah! It's so hard and flavorless, I may as well be chewing a piece of wood. That all but confirms it. These are nothing more than misbegotten failures masquerading as goodly carrots. Stop, can't you see these are pumpkins? And no one with any sense would try eating them raw. You're supposed to cook them first. Do you not find it an awful bother? Far from it, cooking is a joy unto itself. And what's more, it broadens the range of ingredients that we may safely eat. And above all else, cooking allows us to draw off the full potential of our produce. Pumpkin stew has been one of my favorite dishes for as long as I can remember. Then perhaps even these hard blocks of plant matter can become as delicious as the orange I sampled. I wonder though, if there's anything even more delicious. How about that yellow fruit over yonder? No. You don't want to eat that raw. What a wondrous fragrance. With luck, it'll have a flavor to match. As I have no idea how these are eaten, I just bite into it. My tongue! Is this poison? Lemon? You mean it's supposed to taste like this? How can something so similar to an orange be so revolting? It may be some time before my palate recovers from this ordeal. As such, I've best call an end to this round of sampling. Let's say our farewells and return to the others. Finished, have you? I trust you found something to your liking. I'm rather enamored with the grapes and oranges, less so the pumpkin, though I've learned the hard way that they are not to be eaten raw. Then there's the lemon, the deceiver. I feel so violated. First time, was it? I'd hate for you to leave a bad taste in your mouth in more ways than one, so I give you this lemon muffin I baked. If this doesn't change your opinion, nothing will. More lemon? Have I not suffered enough? Nevertheless, it would be remiss of me to spurn this opportunity to Oof, a bit of sick came up there. Learn more of your inscrutable ways. Very well, Lemon Muffin. Do your worst. This is delicious. Although I still detect a hint of lemon, it complements the sweetness of a dough to create a perfect harmony. I never would have guessed its vile bitterness could be utilized so elegantly. My good chap, this is simply breathtaking. See? We rarely use lemon in its natural state, but it has a staring role in all sorts of recipes, and the same is true for many other ingredients. It comes down to making the most of the resources at our disposal, and sometimes that can even be the difference between life and death. I know we won't be able to take every species with us. None of the forum agonizes over what was worth preserving and what will be consigned to history. Our choices, but make them we must if we're to survive. Such strength of will. Now I know what Highland sees in your kind. Mankind, the Loporrits, we are both born from the accumulated knowledge of the ancients. We learned all there is to learn about the nature of sentient life and the fates of the star themselves. Once a civilization has fulfilled the basic requirements for survival, it will inevitably seek to eliminate all forms of negativity and achieve perfection. And therein lies its folly and its downfall. For perfection is an unattainable ideal. It is the paradox of the immaculate carrot. Yet civilizations since time immemorial have deemed the pursuit of perfection as progress. They pay no heed to the costs incurred in their futile quest, and all too often become the architects of their own demise, their dreams forever unfulfilled. What then is the alternative? The answer lies in knowing that our existence can never be perfect, to be content with what we have and make the most of it. When life gives you lemons, make lemon muffins. Pardon my Eorzean, but what in the seven else are you on about? And who are you anyway? Cooking Ray, at your service. I'm here to help prepare for the trip to the moon. And once we get there, you'll be able to try my carrots. I've been growing all different kinds. But don't worry, there'll be room for your crops too. We work together to preserve as many of our favorite species as possible, if you're up to the challenge. Yes, of course, I look forward to it. Well, this has been all highly productive, probably. Let's go and see if Urangia and the others have run out of machinery to inspect, shall we? So he's one of the firm's lunar collaborators. Not quite what I was expecting, but he seems a decent folk. I'm glad he enjoyed the lemon muffin too. Hopefully the next time he has one, he won't be compelled to wax poetic about the meaning of life and the immaculate carrot again. Oh, there you are. Have you almost finished talking about rain-making Watsons yet? We have you and Cookie and B. If the two of you were engaged in pursuit of an educational nature, you should have taken me too. I'm the leader after all. Not to wrap it in, but we had the most fantastic time while you were away. Riancha was able to obtain all manner of meteorological data for us to pore over. I'll be sure to put my newfound knowledge to good use once we return to the moon. It's my duty to make your journey as comfortable as possible, though there's no telling how long it will be. 100 years? 1,000? Huh. Probably closer to 5,000, give or take. By Cooking's Ray's broad grin, I assume. Your excursion was a roaring success. That was most enlightening, especially the part with a lemon muffin. Actually, I was wondering, do you know of any other places famed for their cuisine? The Far East has oodles of noodles. What would I have the time to visit? The more I learn of Etherys, the more I wish we could spare it from the final days. Alas, Heiderland's orders are to flee, not to resist. If only there was some other way. Good. Enough for today. Until next time, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.